When we were going to Tawaf,
Yes.
Tawaf Ifada,
Yes. How did you guys go? Did you go directly from the Jamarat?
yes,
Did you walk there?
yes,
You walked all the way on
yes,
foot? Oh,
but
mashallah.
it's not that far
How much
actually.
time did it take you to go to the Haram?
To
Walking?
walk took about probably more than 1 hour, 1.5 hours.
Really? Okay.
Yes, all the way from Jamarat to go there.
Okay, but it was easy.
Because the tunnel itself is 1.5 kilometers.
Oh, I see.
When you walk through the
okay.
tunnel.
But it's got those big fans.
Fans. It's actually
Blasting.
quite,
Yeah, it's quite nice
pleasing. It's quite
yes,
nice
yes,
actually. You
alhamdulillah.
don't feel tired
Yes.
or sweat or
Oh, we
anything.
walked through the tunnel. It's not that long. That goes
Yeah.
into Mina.
Oh,
It's
that's
same
the other
kind of
one.
thing.
Yeah,
It was really
yeah,
nice.
yeah, that's the other
To
one.
see, I like to watch people and see people from. I just love to see people
Yeah.
from different countries.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it must have been.
It was
nice.
very good.
Just flow all the way to the Haram.
What happened actually while, because I saw these people like flood
Yes,
going
yes,
in,
yes.
and my expectation was that, mashallah, it will be very difficult to do tawaf.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, when we went there, it was very easy.
Okay. Mashallah.
I didn't see much people inside the tawaf. Well, it looked like everyone was coming
Yes.
at the same time.
But maybe that's just the way the Haram is designed now.
No, because the extension of
Yes,
the
yes.
haram and the tawaf, the extension,
What
the
flow did you
mashallah,
guys-
the amount of people you see just like disappears.
It just flows
It
naturally.
flows naturally. And
I mean, the
all
Jamarat
the
as well.
flows.
I was a
Yeah.
bit nervous my first time to go to the Jamarat.
Yeah,
And obviously what I heard about going to Jamarat before, it's a very intense and crowds and pushing.
yeah,
But we walked up there, slowly, calmly.
yeah,
You know, we just went in. We came to the Jamarat, the Kubra, the big
Yeah.
one that we had to, and we just went up to it and we did
yeah. It's
our
like
stuff.
you're the closest
And-
one to the wall
and
to
we-
actually throw the stones.
And we went one side, we made our dua, and then we continued. It was
Yeah, yeah.
so easy.
Very easy, very easy.
SubhanAllah, it was a very, very pleasurable experience.
Yeah, so alhamdulillah, when we went there,
What
and,
floor did you do the tawaf on?
the tawaf, we did it on the roof,
Okay, right at the top.
right at the top.
Okay.
It was hot because we did it right
In the day
Zuhr time.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
It was sunny and very hot, but alhamdulillah, the technique we used,
Yes,
every tawaf that we were making,
yes.
we used to go get
You-
Zamzam,
Okay.
get Zamzam,
To
drink
mark
Zamzam and put it on our head,
Okay.
and then that will keep us going
Yes,
until
yes.
the next,
The next,
round,
mashallah.
you know, and we
I
felt
must try
fresh.
this. Yes.
Felt very fresh because at the start we thought, oh, it's going to be very difficult. Let's
Yes.
go to the other floors, you
Yes.
know, down or the first floor or the second. But then we thought, okay, let us do one, and we will see how it goes.
Mm.
But when we did the first round and we took Zamzam, we said, okay, we can
Let's
do
do
it.
this every
Let's do
time.
the second, you know.
I'm going to try that.
And we
because
kept
for
on
me,
doing this.
in Tawaf,
Yeah,
I become a little bit, I lose track of what's going on.
mm.
Where did I start and how many
Rounds you did?
rounds.
Yeah.
So what I did is I kept my hand like this. Every time I do
Yeah,
another one,
yeah.
but then I forgot.
Yeah. let me give you something which helps a lot.
Yes, please.
They have like similar to tasbih.
Yes,
There is only 7 of them.
yes.
Just keeps you track, you know, you can
Yes.
keep track of
Yes.
how many
I saw some people have
rounds you
this
done.
like a ring with the
Somebody had the
electronic.
digital, yeah, the digital
Can you
one.
just press the button?
Yeah, you press the button every time you
I
complete
think I
a
want to try
round.
and get that.
Yeah, but I have the
'Cause I let go of the-
more old.
The beads. Sometimes you're just not taking notice and you let go and you, which
oh,
one was
how
that?
many you've done?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I think I want to try to get older. They're not that expensive. They're small, little.
Yeah, it's
like
very
a
cheap.
ring.
I think it's 10 riyal or something.
Yes,
you can
inshallah.
buy it from anywhere.
So
it's a lot easy.
I'm looking forward to that also.
Yeah, but so alhamdulillah, when we did the few tawafs, then we went to Say.
Yes.
By the time we went to Say to do Safa Marwa, we were just to walk there. We were a little bit exhausted, a little
I'm
bit tired.
sure, yeah. Because you did the Jamarat and then.
Yeah, because we did the Jamarat, all the way walked there, and then we did the Tawaf. A little bit tired, but still, alhamdulillah, because
It's not the same
we
kind of
felt
time.
very warm when we were doing Tawaf. But when we went to Say,
Inside
it was
it's-
completely the opposite because
Yes.
all the ACs are on,
Yes, yes.
everything, and it's very
Alhamdulillah.
cold.
Yes.
Then we have to put our ihram all around us to actually, you know, to feel a little bit warm.
It's amazing.
But what I noticed is actually when the incident happened, mashallah, with the brothers, when we were going, it was me, brother Ibrahim, it was Abdullah, Dr. Abdullah, and also it was Brother Ismail. So 4 of us when we were going. Then what I noticed is one little girl, she was around the age of 8 years, 7, 8. She actually stepped on Brother Ibrahim's foot. And then straight away she turned around and started apologizing. Not once, 3, 4
Many
times.
times.
And every
MashaAllah.
time she looks around,
MashaAllah.
because she felt that guilt.
Felt very bad.
Yeah,
yes.
she felt it. And then she was like, I was looking at her, she was like even telling her mother what she did, you know, and keep on turning back, looking
Yes.
at Brother Ibrahim and apologizing. I said, look at this, mashallah.
MashaAllah.
She's only
So
7,
young.
8 years old,
Yes.
but she has this
Yes.
compassion and you know, she knows that she's
Concern.
in this holy place
Yes,
and
yes.
for this holy reason,
Yes.
and she doesn't want to harm anyone,
Yes.
and she had this concern in her head
Yes.
that, oh,
I was
perhaps
amazed
did
when I looked
something
at,
wrong, you know?
at some of the kids in the, some of the boys in the ihram, and feeling very at ease, playing
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
and enjoying
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Even in Muzdalifah, I saw some young boys sleeping and with their parents, and it was really. I thought taking a child might be something that I wouldn't recommend to anyone. But when I saw now how easy it is, my mind changed about that.
Yeah.
About you know
Yeah.
how the experience is, and I guess those kids, that experience is gonna stick with them.
Stick with them.
They will return to Makkah
They will
for
return.
their own Hajj as an adult with a different kind of awareness of what this is about and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
You know, my recommendation, as a personal recommendation, those that live within Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
always to bring their kids to for
Haram.
coming to Umrah.
Yes, yes.
You know, whenever they are doing Umrah, maybe Hajj is very difficult
Yes,
for
yes.
some families and
Yes.
things,
I want to do that. I
but
want
bring
to
them for
definitely-
Umrah. Let
Yes.
them experience.
Yes.
You know,
Let
Because
their hearts
like you
become
said,
attached
yeah,
to
exactly,
the
that
symbols
experience will
and
stay
the
with them.
things that are attached to Allah.
You know,
So they
just,
feel connected to this.
like even with my children, my daughter, she's 7,
MashaAllah. What's her name?
nearly 7,
What's
Alia.
Ali.
Yeah, mashallah, she like every time she's asking about it.
Yes, yes. When
Are we going to the
when
house
you-
of Allah?
Yes,
You know,
mashallah.
when are we
Yes,
going?
yes.
For example, last time I was coming alone. In fact, actually, I was going to Medina.
Yes.
Then as soon as she heard that I'm going to Medina, I said, why you're not taking us with you
Okay.
as well, you know?
Yes, yes.
Like even from that childhood, she has this
Yes, yes.
attachment to the house of Allah and to Medina, you know? So my recommendation is always, if we are on video and we are live, to all the families, to the Muslim families who live nearby, maybe it's difficult to bring them from overseas.
Yes.
If you can afford it,
I mean, it's
and
an
you can do it,
investment.
bring them as well, you know, bring them for Umrah.
Yes.
If you can't bring them for Hajj, I understand that Hajj is very difficult, you know, it really physically
Yeah, no.
and maybe
You need to be
financially
prepared
for
for
people
this.
as well. Yeah, it's,
I mean,
it's-
I know now.
yeah,
It's my first Hajj. Alhamdulillah, I went alone so that I can just get an understanding. If I
Exactly.
do bring my family, I know
Exactly.
now how to navigate some of the
yeah.
activities and places. I kind of know where is Mina, where is Muzdalifah in the relation. Before, my mind, I looked at the maps, but I didn't quite have a sense where
Yeah,
everything is,
yeah.
how long it takes.
Exactly.
So Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So yeah, like even my first Hajj when I did it was actually I did it alone.
Alone, yes.
I wanted to be in a situation where I could only concentrate
For
in
yourself,
my
just to
my
focus.
ibadah
Yes.
and focus on this Hajj
Mm.
and not worry about
Yes.
if I have my wife with me or my family with me, not to worry about them so
Yes.
much. I mean, in my case, some cases it doesn't really matter anyway. You
Yes.
know, maybe if some people they can manage to do both. You know.
Look, I mean, for
Maybe.
us, many of us, growing up in a Western kind of setting, and what our kids are exposed to, and these kind of things, sometimes our kids are not used to these kind of situations.
Exactly.
Maybe they're sensitive in a different way, or they haven't been exposed to this. But like the conversation we were having earlier on about how do we get the children to, as they're growing up, to be more attached to Islamic, our celebrations, to
Yeah.
Eid,
Yeah.
to, the lifestyle that we have. is to expose them to these kind of things, even in various ways, telling them the stories. I know my wife with the kids back home, they are following our steps. Okay, today Daddy is doing this activity, going to this place, and then they are discussing it, and my wife's telling them the stories, and they're asking questions. They want to know now what's next. And when the day of Eid came, they sent me some pictures of the drawings they did of the haram and preparations they did at the table and stuff.
Yeah,
so to get them into this frame of mind where they are excited about these processes and these things, to bring them here also, instead of going to Disneyland or, you know, some of the places that we go to, which doesn't benefit.
This actually reminds me of something. I just wanted to ask you something. As a Muslim revert, tell me your experience, like maybe, were you celebrating at the time Christmas and New Year's Eve?
Yeah,
or these
I mean,
things?
I was
you were
Christian,
celebrating?
and we were quite traditional Christian family.
So tell me, I just wanted to know, like, for example, when you were celebrating Christmas and those the Christian celebrations, for example, you have Easter, they have Easter and Christmas, a few things, As a child, for example, growing as a Christian, what you felt of those celebrations? Now, mashallah, how old were you when you actually accepted Islam?
24 years old.
24. So you are not child anymore, but as a
child.
Father.
I'm still, I still think of myself as
we do. But as a father, alhamdulillah, they are actually growing as a Muslims. By the way, just before to go in there, how many children do you have?
Four.
MashaAllah, 4 children.
4 girls.
How many sons? Four girls. So 4 girls.
Yes,
alhamdulillah.
Very, very happy.
The love of daughter, mashallah, I saw the difference between son and daughter.
Yes.
And the attachment that the daughters have to the father is unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
You know, and the love that they show.
Yes.
I was just talking to my daughter the day before yesterday, and I talked to my son. My son is, yes, I'm doing that, and where are you, and these things. But my daughter, the first thing she said, oh, I miss you.
Emotional,
you know, I miss you so much. You're not here with us, you know. So they are so emotionally attached. So mashallah, Allah has blessed you with 4 daughters, and you know what they say about.
I don't know what it's like to have a son, though. I watch some of the brothers who have all sons.
Yes.
And they're so active.
Yes.
And, you know, adventurous and exploring and stuff. Sometimes I get nervous because I'm not used to, I'm like, oh, stop them from running close to the edge. So I'm a bit like that.
It's a blessing, it's a challenge.
Yes.
I remember the first time, sorry to go off the topic,
no
I will get back to you.
No problem.
I remember the first time.
Because I want to know from you about having a son. You know, what are the...
Son is very challenging. They have mind of their own.
Yes.
I mean, in my case anyway, my son, may Allah bless him, he's now 11 years old. His name is Omar.
Omar, mashallah.
Yes, he's mashallah, wonderful boy. Unfortunately, in Australia, Huda TV doesn't have access to it. I was hoping that you would be watching.
But they can access it online.
Online, yeah.
They can watch a live stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But alhamdulillah, he's a very intelligent boy.
MashaAllah.
He's at this age of 11 even, he's trying his best, you know. Mashallah, he's going to school, he's going to madrasa after school. He has 3 days of madrasa. And then at the same time, I encouraged him to be involved in sports as well. So he's doing football.
Very good to be,
you know, 3 days involved.
Strong.
Yeah, exactly. So alhamdulillah.
He's going to be the one that's going to look after you and
exactly.
You know, be the leader of the family.
But when you was a child, the first time when we came to Saudi Arabia, that was in 2007. Then after like 2 months, we did our first Umrah. And then after that, the week after, we went to Medina.
Yes.
So you were asking about boys, how it's like. Yes. Like I said, they have a mind of their own, you know, as children.
You wanted to go.
Wherever they want to go, they go.
Yes.
They don't look even back.
For me, I am very nervous about. I'm like, I need to keep them in my sight. Don't go anywhere. And I tell my daughters, please don't walk anywhere where I cannot see you. I need to see you all the time. And a boy will just...
Yeah, but the daughters are very different. You know, they're always like, probably it's the way they are, you know, in their nature.
Yes.
They always want to be close to you.
Yes.
They don't want to go too far away.
Yes.
But with boys, like I said, they just want to go.
Independent.
And they want to explore.
I want to try my own thing and see my own thing.
Exactly, without letting even know. At the time, he was, I think he was 3.5 years old.
Yes, yes.
3 years old, 3.5. When we brought him to Medina, that was, at the time I had only one child, which was him.
Okay, mashallah.
So we brought him to Medina, and I because, you know, in Medina, female women,
Yes,
they go
the
into separate
section, yes,
sections,
yes.
and men go to
Yes.
separate section. So I asked my wife that, do you want me to look after him, or you will look
Yes.
after him? She said, no, leave him with me. I will
Okay.
look after him. So then it was Friday prayer, by the way, a lot of people.
Yes. Oh.
Then when he was there with her, somehow as soon as she started prayer, he started moving,
wandering. Oh.
wandering. He left.
Oh.
My wife was saying, because I wanted to concentrate on the prayers. First time is Jummah prayer.
Yes, yes.
So I didn't look where he was going or where he went, but as soon as she finished the prayer, she's looking at him, he's not there, he's gone.
Oh.
And you know how mothers are.
Yes.
Khalas, as soon as a child, anything happens, then a lot of things, you know, shaitan brings into your mind,
Yes,
what
yes.
happened to him and this. Then she started looking, then she called me. Now I told her after prayer I'll wait in a certain area for her. Now she called me. I thought, okay, maybe she's looking for me. Then straight away she said that I lost Omar.
Oh.
And then
Alhamdulillah is in one of the safest places in the earth.
yeah, yes,
you know?
exactly. Then I told her, look, don't worry. Alhamdulillah, we are in Medina. You know, we are first time coming to Medina. Allah is not gonna be doing something, you know, to us so that it goes like a negative. You want to always remember something positive the first time you come, you know. So I try to
encourage her, calm her down. Yes.
But at the same time, you know, what it's like, shaitan brings a lot of things into your mind as well, in your heart, you know. So I was worried as well. Then I told her, okay, don't worry, because I'm not allowed to come into the section where women are.
Yes.
You start looking around
Inside
there, but I will be outside looking around, just to make sure in case if he comes outside, then I'm here waiting for him.
Yes.
So, alhamdulillah, I think it took around 20 minutes or so just to look for him. And finally, she asked for help, and may Allah reward, you know, some of the volunteers, women who are working there and things. Yes. All of them, they started looking around as well. And one of them finally, because she asked straight away, what is he wearing,
yes.
what he looks like, how old is he, and what's his name. Then one of the ladies, alhamdulillah, he found him, you know, and brought him to my wife. So my wife was very happy, alhamdulillah. And we were happy. But like I'm telling you about the boys, you know, but still it stays in your head. You know, even the first time we went to Medina, it actually, for men it's still okay, but for women, for mothers especially, it's very difficult to forget such a thing. What if that happened? What if this happened, you know? But you thank Allah, you know, always for that. But like coming to the boys, this was the big difference between the boy and the girls, you know? Yes.
I know this, because back in South Africa, we are like a group of families. Some have boys and girls, some only girls, some only boys. And we used to go out as about 5, 6, 7 families to a place for picnic near a river or something. And we'd park our cars in like a circle or something, and create like a little space.
Yes.
Create a space for the women, and the girls would be, but the boys would be would be running. So yes.
Yeah, correct. So coming back to the question I wanted to ask you was, like, for example, you were involved in some of the celebrations of Christmas and other Christian celebrations.
Yes.
How did you feel at the time? How was it as a child? How interesting this whole idea of celebration was to you?
Yes.
But now as a Muslim, like, what do you do for your children to celebrate the two Muslim celebrations of Eid?
I mean, I was thinking while they were discussing this earlier on the issue of Eid and the other celebrations and the media out. I mean, obviously, as a child, as a Christian, your focus is Christmas on presents.
Yeah.
What am I getting?
Yeah.
And it's a day of eating sweets and having fun with your family, this kind of thing. So we would maybe go to some church service, but the focus for me was the present. I was very excited. What am I going to do?
As the case with all children.
I wasn't interested in what I'm going to wear
Yes.
or any of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
The present, that was the focus. And in some other celebrations, there's some Easter eggs or chocolates or stuff. That was my kind of focus. And also the media kind of create for you this romantic idea of this occasion, but it doesn't put in that occasion the belief. The media...
So it's become more like
picture,
a commercial rather than religious celebration.
It's partly emotional. It programs you to be in a certain mood on that day, even if you are not religious at all. And there are many people that are not Christian who celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
And they would buy presents and dress up and do these things because this is the norm of that social setting or that society. And like one or two of the brothers said, some Muslims who maybe some weak or ignorance about their religion and are living in that, they are influenced by this.
Yes.
So for me, once I started having children, immediately this became now something I need to figure out, how do I deal with this, because I'm living in a Christian country and trying to not let my kids become so attached to these things they see in the media that are blown out of perspective and given this big kind of lights and these kind of things. So number one, I try my best to tell my kids lots of stories about Muslim role models, the events of the past, and attach them to these interesting... I mean, if you want not to even expose them at all to Superman and Father Christmas, and because these images are created naturally to attract the hearts of people.
Yeah.
So we need to remind ourselves and our kids of the real, true examples. They don't need red costume with a big, they have their own story.
The true heroes.
And it's truly amazing.
Yes.
And actually, we are connected directly to them. They're real people, not imaginary. They really did amazing things. So that's the real example. So I like to tell my kids stories of the prophets and of the events of how Islam and the prophets before and of the companions of the prophet, and let them watch something related to this. Let them play a game related to this. I try to do that and try to completely keep them away from being mesmerized by these fake things that are created to kind of, and that's what Shaitan does. Shaitan creates a fake beautiful picture. It looks very nice, has trimmings. It's fun and exciting. Everybody else is doing it. But I try to create an environment where my kids, they don't feel like they're missing out on anything. They're more excited about the Islamic calendar, the Islamic events, Jumu'ah, Salah, all these things. Try to. I mean, obviously you have those moments where you cannot control what we are exposed to, what your kids are exposed to. Something comes along and they what's this? What is that? And then immediately explain to them, this is what the people who are Christian, what they believe. And they do some things according to what they believe, but this is not what Allah taught us. And I try to repeat this with them many times. And after a while, when they see this again, they will say, that's what those people do and what they... So I've tried. But in an environment where this is heavy, especially in Western kind of culture, for me, I brought my family here to Saudi, and it's completely different. They don't get this heavy pressure to adopt a lifestyle and a way of understanding that's contrary to a life as a Muslim. And they see all these signs of people reading Quran, people dressing Islamically, masajid, the shops close when it's time for Salah. When we go out and we want to go somewhere, we know, don't go just before the Salah, because the shop's going to close, you're going to have to leave. plan your time according to the times of Salah,
Yeah.
all these things. And I've seen a difference in how my kids have, been associated with Islamic things, just with trying little things. But as a community, we need to work together to think of new, because the media, a kid is a kid. When they see a fun game, bright colors, they get attracted to that.
Exactly.
So we should create Islamic interactivity, engaging stories, games, programs, all these kind of things, so that our kids don't need to just throw some device in front of them and let them play whatever gets. These are some of the things that I try.
Yeah.
But still, I think we can do a lot more. We can be more
but
creative.
But it is a little bit challenge. It's a
challenge.
Very much challenge in a way that, see, living in a non-Muslim country where they have a lot of ways to attract you, like what you just explained before on the stage as well. They have these ways of commercial ways.
Yes.
And they know how to attract children into things, because at the end their whole purpose is only one thing: how to make money out of it.
Out of the attracting of people.
It's all commercial.
Yes.
They don't look at doing something for the sake of Allah.
And because of that, they getting funds to increase their, they're getting paid to do this.
Exactly.
So they're taking that resource that they're gathering up and doing more and more and more to get more and more money. And for us, sometimes we have this challenge of, this is not a paid activity. So we need to really think, what are we investing in? If we're spending money to create something that benefits ourselves and our children, it's an investment for us. Not only in the dunya.
Exactly. But also, like I was saying, the challenge is there, is what the challenge is actually as Muslims.
Yes.
We can only do certain things in a like a.
Of course, we have our boundaries.
Our boundary,
Yes, yes.
Where, for example, I noticed actually even recently in the last few years, what the Muslims were trying to do, this Eid celebration and things.
Yes.
Unfortunately, sometimes they will go outside the boundary.
Yes.
For example, they will organize these events in the parks and or halls and places. For example, we were having Eid, when we had Ramadan the whole month. And straight after Ramadan, in one of the days of Eid, they will organize like a concert. For example, invite one famous singer of their own country or someone, and have this concert just to our Eid celebration.
Yes, and sometimes maybe the music is not quite the best of.
Exactly. So those sort of things, that's what I'm saying, it's a challenge, that how within a specific limitation and boundary, we can make things attractive to children.
Yes.
Like you said, for example, before, how you talk to them about the stories of Sahabas.
Yes, yes.
What children love.
Yes.
For example, children like stories.
They love stories.
Children like sports. Like, for example, we should take them out for events and stuff,
And they need
we should do things, exactly. We should do things, like, for example, the non-Muslim come out with ways of thinking how to attract your children. You should also come out with ways.
Yes.
You should be more innovative.
Yes.
What you can do with your children to make them more attractive.
Doing this thing, if you just say, okay, this is what people do. They have a stage, dancing, singing. That's easy. Everyone does that.
Yeah.
The whole world does that. So you can just say, okay, let's just do that. That means you're not being creative. But there's so many interesting things you can do. Games that you can create, that whether it's just for fun, whether it has some learning benefit to it, that even takes more creativity. So we should exert ourselves to think really, and the boundaries of Islam are not, so narrow that we cannot think of things to enjoy ourselves. It's just that we need to learn how to change our frame of reference. Frame of reference is not what everyone does, but what Allah wants from us and what Allah allows us to do. And within that, there's so much space to to have this kind of event or go out far somewhere to a beautiful place or invite multiple families together, and there's many things that we can do. Whether it's gifts, I mean even to the point of gifts.
Yeah.
Children love to receive gifts.
Gifts, exactly.
If you are giving them gifts or letting them be exposed to gift giving outside of the Islamic framework, they're going to be more attracted to that. So make it about those moments like Eid. For example, if my kids, they in Ramadan, I don't force them to fast. But my kids, the two older ones, they fast. My
How old are they?
My oldest daughter, she's 10. She fasts the whole month.
MashaAllah.
But she's been fasting for a few years now. The
MashaAllah.
first time she started, it was half, a bit, and it was a fun thing, and it gave her something. You know,
Obviously something she wants to do, right?
Yes.
Even without you telling her to fast.
My
or
second daughter, my older daughter, Iman, she fasts the whole month. Some days it's difficult, some days it's easy. But she herself has realized that fasting, sometimes it's difficult, but if you just persevere, but then you get a full day. And she becomes so happy that I did the whole day. And then I did a whole week. And then we give them, we buy them ice cream, something special.
Yeah.
And we speak to them about the rewards of doing this, to make them be attached to the significance of this. My second oldest daughter, Zahra,
Yes.
she also is fasting now the full month. But like last year, she wasn't fasting full days. And some days she would say, I don't want to fast. Then we just leave her.
Of course.
But she started feeling like, I want to get more and when she started doing it and becoming excited that I can do it, then it's like she had the sense of achievement, this great sense of achievement. And at the end of Ramadan, Eid was like such a special thing for her.
Yeah.
Because I did 28 point something days or you know, it's like a major thing. And she realized I have the ability to do something great. And at the end, I can celebrate and be very happy about it.
Exactly.
My third youngest one, which she's like 5 years old now,
What's her name?
Sakina.
Sakina.
She's
mashallah.
still not quite fully aware of many of these things. It's more like she's just playing around with it.
Yeah.
So she will fast half an hour, and then she'll eat something, and then she'll fast again, and eat something. And I tell the others, don't tell her that you didn't fast. You fasted that short time.
Yeah, exactly.
Mashallah.
Exactly.
If she does it, okay. If she doesn't, when she gets older, she will also, as I saw with the other two, start becoming more aware. Because every year exposed to the same thing.
Exactly.
She takes the dates. She's the first one to have the date.
Days.
And the water.
Breaking fasting.
So, how we create that environment and how much joy we show as adults in doing these acts of worship. And in talking about Nabi Ibrahim, he did this and now I'm going and I'm being like him. And these kind of things, subhanAllah, the kids, they get affected by this, by every word you say and every reaction from you. Like kids, they watch you. And you're speaking about something, they can read your face. Like, is he positive about this? And they might ask something, and you think they're not aware of things. They're very aware of so many things. So how we create the space for them to slowly become conscientized towards what is Islam and what are the symbols of Islam, and make that their life focus. And these other things, it's so strange to see people smoking. For example, at the beginning, sorry, I know I'm talking all these things are just coming to mind.
I love
For
to
example,
listen,
my older two kids, they saw people smoking, and I knew I have to address this issue because they'd be wondering, what is this that people are doing?
Yeah.
So I'll tell them that Allah doesn't want us to do things that harm our bodies. And a Muslim doesn't do things that displeases Allah. So this thing, when people smoke this, it harms the bodies, it gives them their lungs, it burns, it smells bad. But once you start doing it, it's difficult to stop. And some people, they cannot stop themselves. So we speak, but a Muslim, he doesn't do these kind of things. So I remember clearly when the two older ones, both of them had this moment where they said, "Oh, that man's not a Muslim, Daddy." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "That man's smoking." Then I realized, actually, I need to teach them something more about this now. So I said, no, sometimes all of us, me, you, we do things that Allah doesn't want us to do. It's not right, but I'm still a Muslim.
Yeah.
And I have to ask Allah to forgive me. So I have to. The same with hijab. We would tell them, the Muslim lady covers and this is why she does it. And they said the same thing. Those are not Muslims. And then we have to tell them, they might be. But maybe they don't know.
Yeah.
Or they doing a sin. So step by step. But to make them conscious of these things. Not be just those people that follow whatever the society is. If something is disliked, you need to express your dislike. If you see that thing coming into your space, your kids need to be aware that you dislike this. You shouldn't be like, okay, it's okay if you smoke, or if you don't wear, it's okay, don't worry. If your kids see you say this, or behave in a way that accepts un-Islamic behavior, they will accept it as well.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't mean we have to go around saying, why are you shouting at people? But you showing, even sometimes we drive past someone and they're playing very bad music, and you roll the windows, you're like, the sound, it's hurting my ears. Why would people do this? And my kids started repeating that. And they would say, this is not music. It's just loud noise that hurts your ears.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to repeat this action regarding things that are disliked in Islam so many times with kids until they see, okay, you are consistent about this. If you start showing them, I'm listening to some music on the side, and they catch you, oh, your whole da'wah, because it's da'wah to your
Yes,
kids.
yes.
Your whole
Everything
education.
that we do, they look at it.
Exactly.
And they follow everything.
So,
yeah.
may Allah, it's not easy. I mean, it's heavy, but we get such a reward from Allah if we do this with our kids, because we are raising the next generation of Muslims who could go on to be the leaders of our communities, leaders of the Ummah.
Absolutely.
And we know internationally the Muslim population is young.
Yeah.
So the next generation, they're going to, have to face the challenges that are coming. So we need to, and we can prepare them in ways that's sensitive. Don't need to be like, very step by step. I mean, I know, if I had to be told when I became Muslim, you must do this and you must do, I maybe wouldn't do these things. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. So even, no one said to us. Are they eating? Finished? Oh, let's go.
Finish the barbecue?
I mean, there's some stuff left, I don't know. So I'm trying to see.
Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair.
You think we should go?
Yeah, let's go.
So, yes, I mean, with new Muslim as well.
So what we really need to do is actually, like, for example, especially with children, even when they do something wrong, instead of telling them off,
yes,
it's better to reason with them, explain to them.
Yes.
I notice a lot of times as a parent, when they do something wrong, what we do is our first reaction is actually tell them off.
Yes.
But without reasoning, like, okay, when you're telling them, oh, don't do this, this is wrong, why you're doing this? Okay, you're shouting at him.
Yes.
And he will not listen to you.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how many times you tell him, they will not, end of the day, he's going to